That's right, folks. We gotta know. This show don't pretend to have all the answers. Hey, not even close. But we sure do have a whole lot of questions. And that's what this show's all about. Trying our best to come up with reasonable, plausible, doable solutions for the problems we face in our everyday life. I like to have the most up-to-date information. That way I can base my decisions on what's going on now, not necessarily what should be going on or what I would like to go on, but what actually is going on. One of the reasons why we will experience a downturn, an economic downturn in this country, one of the reasons it can't be got around is when the United States seized Russia's foreign assets and then banned them from using the SWIFT system for international monetary petrodollar transfers. Once they did that, and they did it, now mind you, you did it to Russia. Love them, hate them, whatever the case may be. I'm not here to try to make your mind up for you. I like an audience that's well informed and opinionated because they've based their opinion on good, the most historical and up-to-date information available. So, by all means, be a free thinker. But let's get back to U.S.-Russia relations and how it relates to the international problems that are starting to come around now. Now, this is my take on it. We live in the United States. The United States is a real superpower, and it has the ability to outdo any and all comers. Unfortunately, laws that have been passed in this country have allowed big corporations and the power players and the big money brokers, okay, to circumvent the duly righteous system, all right, and back the candidates that they want to back for public elected office. Throw millions and millions of campaign dollars behind any one given candidate's position, election, which facilitates more spear campaigns, which facilitates more dirty dealing, which also facilitates more commercials, newspaper ads, ads of all kinds. They're coming at you every day, all day. Advertisements everywhere, signs everywhere. Come closer to election time, and that's going to continue to ramp up. So now that's the root cause. Another big problem is the government's full of yes men. So they'll tell our elected politicians, people with extreme and amounts of power and prestige, and these high offices up on Capitol Hill, and Washington, D.C. area. Now, not the people that live in Washington, D.C., not the day-to-dayers that call it home. I'm talking about the people that are elected and sent to Capitol Hill and Washington, D.C. to run our country. So, in my opinion, based on the most up-to-date facts, I feel our whole system's been circumvented. And as a result of that, we've allowed only the politicians only like people around them who facilitate their madness and tell them what they want to hear. So as a result of that, the government is full of yes men. That's right. Hold up. I've got to turn my fan on. Got to have the effects, right? Now, and plus it does circulate a little air in here. So when they froze Russia's foreign assets and then froze them out of SWIFT, they're yes men, the people who advised them, gave them bad information because they knew it was what the politicians wanted to hear, and it was what the people who backed the politicians wanted them to say. You don't become a 4 or a 5 or even a 1-star general for that matter, or even a general for that matter, unless you're politically connected. Okay? Unless people in high places want you to have that position because you're willing to go out and say what needs to be said, whether if it's the truth or not, to keep things, smoothed over. Or if they don't, look what they're doing to Trump. Love him or hate him, he's the first president in U.S. history who's ever been charged with a crime. Because once you open that door, the office has no more integrity. Okay? The whole point. Now, I agree. Nobody should be above the law. Okay? Okay, I get it. Okay? You don't have to convince me of that argument. But, let's be honest here. These charges, every jurisdiction that looked at these charges passed on. The federal government, the federal prosecutors, and the federal prosecutor's office for the Southern District of New York took a look at all these evidence and they passed on it. Now, why is that significant? That's significant because under federal law, you only have 2 or 3 rights, and those are a little iffy. It's not like state law where you have an extreme amount of more rights, state constitutional rights. All right, they go leaps and beyond the federal Constitution for provide you all kind of protections and safeguards, and they actually have to prove their case. So the feds can convict a ham sandwich and give them 20 years, without a problem. So if they pass on something, all right, and Trump don't really have a whole lot of friends in the Southern District of New York Federal Prosecutor's Office, probably. It's safe to assume. They're New Yorkers too. They just happen to work at the Federal Prosecutor's Office, or they live in New York. And so if they passed on the case, it's probably because it's a relatively weak case. Okay, because like I said, they can indict a ham sandwich, convict a ham sandwich, and get a mandatory minimum of 20 years for a ham sandwich. So when they pass on a crime, especially a political, a big-time crime like this, it's because they looked at it and said, look, as much as we want to cause trouble for this guy, we don't think we can get a conviction. So let's not embarrass ourselves, okay? Let's let it go. So I say that just to point out how corrupted or just how off track our political system has become. Now, whether if you think there was cheating or not cheating in the last presidential election, again, make your own mind up based on the latest information that you've programmed, uploaded. But it has put the office of the integrity of the election for the office of President of the United States in peril. There will always be a little doubt. Okay? Now, maybe that'll fade, maybe it won't. A lot of things fade. Sometimes Americans have long memories, sometimes they have short memories. It depends on what the memory is, right? So, because you have all this bad information and yes men in the federal government, they made a decision to freeze Russia. And we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars. Serious money. Okay? Now, Russia didn't have all their money in U.S. petrodollars, but that was the petrodollar at the time. If you wanted to buy oil and oil products and oil derivatives and gasoline for your country, the OPEC only dealt in dollar bills, U.S. dollar bills. So they were able to pull the move off. Now, Russia is an extremely old country. What is it, like 1,000, 2,000 years old? They've been through a lot of changes. Vladimir Putin, all right, he saw what their move was. He saw what it was in the Minsk Accords. When they had their alleged peace talks and decided, okay, we can live with the whatever they came up with. They all parties said, okay, we can live with this. Now, he knew, contrary to what you hear on the news, that they were pulling some shady deals. And the reason why he didn't step to his business right then, he had to go back to his home front get the economy squared away, and tell all the industries start ramping up ammunition and war productions right now. It's going to take them 3 to 5 years to get Ukraine built up enough where they could stand up and have at least a fighting chance. Okay, they're going to have to send up all this weapons and some training, and etc. So on. Now, you don't think Russia knew that NATO was doing that in the course of those 3 to 5 years? It just confirmed what he had already suspected. He suspected the Minsk Accords was designed to buy NATO and the U.S. time to build up Ukraine. Okay, so obviously there's no love lost between the people of Ukraine and Russia, all right, because that's at the root of the whole Ukraine conflict. And so Vladimir Putin, in typical chess player style, saw the moves they were making and then started making his own moves. First thing he did is he got him a shadow fleet of tankers, all right? Now, when a tanker is at sea, nobody's going to shoot it, all right? I mean, whoever did that, everybody would hate them, right? So nobody's going to blow an oil tanker up at sea. So he got his own fleet, you know, probably 100 or 200. I mean, he's Russia. I mean, he can afford a lot of tankers, you know. So he got his shadow fleet. Then he made deals with countries. Okay, look, I'm going to start beefing with the United States here pretty soon. Hey, man, can I just count on you not flipping on me? And you just stay over here and be cool and at least see what I can do. And if it looks like I'm going to be successful, will you ride with me? Okay, so he made, and I'm going to give you oil and gas products and crude oil and fertilizer at a real good deal. So a lot of countries signed up for that deal because they don't really got no love lost for the United States. Okay, now BRICS, which has been around for probably about 15, 20 years as an idea, and then it kind of started coming together. It consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, independently, those countries independently can't really stand up to the U.S. economy. But when they come together as a brick, all right, as bricks in a wall, their economies combined is definitely equal to the U.S. economy. And if they played their cards right, they could give the U.S. government, you know, a serious run for the petrodollar. Now, Saudi Arabia, which is the head of OPEC, all right, they see the writing on the wall. They make their living making oil, man, okay? Making and producing oil and oil products, okay? All of OPEC, that's what they do. So the West is yelling and whatnot about let's go green, let's go green, let's go green. Now, any reasonable person would support that. Okay, I got no problem with let's go green. I'm all for it, really am, in every way. I mean, I'm pro-green. What I'm not pro is turning the spigot off on the oil products that we depend on our everyday general lifestyle, things we've become accustomed to, before green energy is developed to the degree necessary to be practical. People will actually, if they have a choice between the E and the electric, all right, they'll probably pick the E just as quick as they will the electric because both of them are doing the same thing and the same convenience. You understand what I'm saying? That's what sells, convenience. Now, a lot of people who, for whatever reason, they will, you know, go green early and then go through those extra changes. And I commend them. But most people, they're going to go with the path of least resistance. So, once the government, now see, that's what Joe Biden should be doing. He should be invested in real green energy. Not only should he have passed laws, which he has passed a lot of green law, this is what he's fell short on doing, is approaching private enterprise, private industry, and saying, hey, as a government, as an administration, I want to go green. Now, here's the deal. Tesla, can you make a battery that can charge up in 6, 8, 10 minutes, hold a full charge, and then go 300 miles? And then can you produce a Tesla that's $25,000? See, this is the way you get people into the green state of mind. You get them signing up for green because not only do you make it convenient, you make it more convenient than convention. Less expensive, you see. Now, I'm all for people making a buck, but that slows the process down too. Now, if it was up to me, all corporations, you're giving up 50% of your profits to the government, and we're going to take that money and we're not going to misappropriate it. We're going to take that money and we're going to actually invest it in cutting edge green technology. Not only just to harvest the energy from windmills, green, and no community is immune. What's good for one is good for all. And there's ways to do things, and there's right ways and wrong ways. And just because you live in an upscale community in the middle of nowhere, you want to say, hey, I'm green, well, you know what? You're going to have windmills and solar panels in your neighborhood, okay? Nobody's above it all. If it's good for one, it's good for the other. Let's go, and let's be real about it, okay? And let's invite private industry to compete with one another for a government contract, okay, that will make e-energy, you can charge your e-bike up. You know, hey, if a person could charge an e-bike up and it would go 60, 70 miles an hour like a motorcycle, and you could charge it up in 5 or 6 minutes, like you could, the same amount of time it takes you to fill it up, pull it to the gas station, fill it up. Well, a lot of people would be riding, e-motorcycles. A lot of people would be using e-trucks, e-this, e-that. I'm all for it. I'm also all for is how to actually make it happen. Not just talk a good one, not just talk one, but be about your business. That's the problem in Capitol Hill. Okay, they get sidetracked easily. Sometimes, hey, you know what? You got to say, hey, what's going on right here is really bad, man. I'm not cool with it. I'm not with it. But am I willing to sacrifice all this blood, sweat, and tears of my fellow citizens and other human beings? All right, because I'm not going to let no moronic old fool put a battery in my back and make me up into a wind-up doll. On a closing note today, you know, I told you on one of my previous introductory videos, yeah, I've been to prison. You probably know a lot of people who's been to prison, and get over it. Let's don't dwell on that. We're moving on, okay? But while I was in prison, I was in federal prison, all right? Now, when you get in federal prison, it's almost impossible to grieve something. Grieving something is, hey, when you got a problem with something the administration's doing and you file a formal grievance, you're saying, hey, I got a problem with this, and this is why I got a problem with it, and this right here's the rules that say you ain't supposed to be doing what you're doing. Okay, that's a grievance. You file that. Now, in the federal system, that goes off into outer space. There's like 4 appeal processes you got to go through before you can get to the court. And every one of those appeal processes, they're not going to respond to you. If you don't have the money to buy stamps and get copies made, like nobody cares. Okay, so you allegedly got all these constitutional rights, but if you don't know exactly what form to fill out, if you don't know exactly what deadlines are in play, yeah, your grievance is going to go absolutely less than nowhere. It's going to go 100 points negative. Okay, so what I used to do routinely is whatever federal prison I was in, because if I wasn't feeling what was going on there, I'd just blow the spot up and go to the next spot. Because I'm not going to put myself in a high-risk situation, a high dangerous situation where I don't know what's going on and I'm confused and stuff. Hey, it's called self-preservation. You know what I mean? So a lot of things, hey, I wish hadn't happened, but things did happen. So now, this is the moral of the story. I wrote AOC 2 times because I used to routinely do that. Like, I know the grievance process is a waste of time. All right? And so what you do is you write to your local congressman, your U.S. congressman or your U.S. senator, who's whatever federal district you're in. They might move you from jail to jail. So Florida be one, Congress and Senate, and then Pennsylvania might very well be another, right? So I would routinely write to these Congress and senators and tell them I got a problem, and what they'll do is they'll send you a paper and say, yo, you release your files to me, and then I'll call them up and find out what's going on. Sounds pretty cool, but they always take the side of the prison. But the bottom line is this causes a problem for the prison. They got to answer the phone and talk to somebody, and you just let them know, hey, man, whatever you're doing to me back here, I'm writing people. I'm causing a big problem back here, all right? So a lot of times that will facilitate them to ship you to another jail or to let you out of the hole and this and that next thing. Now, I probably wrote, I would say 8 or 10 different congresspersons and senators throughout my approaching, like a 10-year sentence, okay, in the federal system. I'm not proud of that, but it's the truth, okay? I believe in full disclosure as it's relevant. So if you're listening to me and you're thinking about giving what I'm saying relevance, I want you to have an idea of who you're dealing with. I'm a good dude. Hey, I just did something more than I did, and I'm sure you got friends and family, or you know somebody's probably been in jail. They're not monsters. You know what I'm saying? It's just things. Sometimes things happen. Every one of those congressmen and senators wrote me back. Now, none of them actually helped me when it was all said and done, but every one of them wrote me back. I wrote to AOC's DC office, and I also wrote to AOC's Bronx office. And I told her I was having a problem, okay? Told her what was going on. She never wrote me back from either office. And I remember when she first got to, Washington, D.C., she was making a lot of noise, and some things she was saying was pretty righteous, you know what I'm saying? But have you noticed how we haven't seen too much of her lately? You know what I'm saying? Because what happened is, man, I don't want to put a bone on nobody, but I just think she could be a lot more helpful than she has been. I haven't heard too much out of her last year, and I'd like to get vocal, but about the right things, how to move forward. I know the world's bad of a whole bunch of slap rap nonsense. I get it. What I want to know is how can we move forward? Let's put the BS on the side and get down to where the rubber meets the road. If people want energy to be relative, okay, you got to make it easy and convenient for people. That's just the truth of it. And Russia foresaw America's moves, and the BRICS foresaw America's moves. Now they're giving them a run for their money, okay? Now either two things are going to happen. It's going to either slow down or it's going to escalate. I would imagine that we're going to have a bipolar world when it's all said and done. And the American dollar is never going to be done, because here in America we got over 300 million people in this country. We need a form of currency, so the American dollar will always be in play. How much value is it going to have attached to it? Well, that's the question. Now, gold. See, the pro to buying gold. When you buy gold, you will always have something that is worth something anywhere in the world. The downside to gold is you could buy it today for $2,000 an ounce, and hypothetically it could be worth $1,800 tomorrow. So there is the possibility of losing a little money here and there if you was to buy gold. But the sure thing is you're not going to lose your hard-earned wealth. Okay, you can convert it to something that you can move later on for whatever currency comes into play. You have options. When you play the market, first off, it's addictive, all right? And because you like to win, everybody likes to win. Nobody likes to lose, but that's what you'll end up doing more than you do winning, unless you had insider information, which most of us don't have. Now, gold, I wouldn't put all my cash in gold, but I would put some of it in gold and silver if, I had the funds to do that, if I was in a position to do that, just to be on the safe side. Obviously, you need liquid resources. I mean, you need liquid cash in the barrel, and something you can hold, you own. If you can't hold it, then you don't own it. You know what I'm saying? So, you got $100 in the bank. All right, well, it's what's in the bank, so it's like theirs, and they got guards that protect it. So it ain't really yours. Now, allegedly, your name's on it. You're supposed to be able to get it, but we know that don't always happen. People get their accounts froze all the time. If you got $100 in your wallet, okay, as long as you have that in your wallet, you have control over it, and you can go to a convenience store, whatever, buy whatever you need. You don't have to worry about your card getting rejected or transaction not going through, etc. Well, look, I appreciate your time, and I hope that we put a little food for thought out there. And remember, we got to know. We ain't got all the answers, but we got a whole lot of questions. So until next time, stay up.